going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan. They just got punched in the mouth. They didn't even know how to react.
That is one Derby Diamond.
On Mila, do we want to do a little predictive? That was the last time they showed initiative to go get a fucking player.
They're still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero.
I'm Grant. They're talking a lot about you, 15. How will you respond, 15?
We downgraded from Peppa. Do you know how absurd that is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs, episode 59. I'm Dylan, alongside Mila and Grant. Dude, soccer sucks. What a stupid sport. I'll promo us first. Road to 100 subscribers, so please drop a sub, like, comment, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes, because we will have one later this week. Ooh. But before we get into today's show, here's the rundown. Chelsea smashed the shit out of West Ham 5-1, right? 5-1.
Yeah.
And then United and City played games, and we'll get into those as we get into those. But let's start with Grant. Your 5 things you learned from Chelsea versus West Ham.
Man, kind of how I started last week with an honorable mention to Palace being a tough game and kind of prefacing all my points. I'd like to preface this with West Ham are very bad. I think there's more to take from them being bad than us being good. In my opinion, that was kind of a game where it didn't really look like we were out of first gear, 1 through 90, and we ended up 5-1. So with that being said, my first thing that I learned, the back three progression is very heavily reliant on that central center back, something that we learned from unfortunate injuries, along with our manager kind of preaching it. But Tosin just changes the way we play. I think Achampong was really good when he did, but it's not a position he's played often, and I think Tosin really showed the levels. I think he might be a victim of small club stigma, if you will, but I think he's top level. I really do. He might not be that A side who you build around, if you will, but I think he's more than just a squad player. He's really, in my opinion, going to prove his worth. We got to wrap him up in bubble wrap. He needs to be available in all of our games that are big. I also think Cucurella on the left-hand side of that back three helped with our progression. Having a left footer opens up a lot of those angles that Chalobah can't find. Hato came on later in the game, and again, it was 5-1 at that point, but showed it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to the speed, and that's totally okay. He's understudy to the best left back in the league, so I think that's just fine. My second thing that I learned was we were a lot more fluid in build-up in this game. Saw a lot of moments where Caicedo would drop into the back line, which allowed Cucurella to kind of drive forward into a lot of space, and that opened options up for him there. I think Enzo was a lot more involved with Caicedo in build-up, kind of drifting next to him, being able to play quick passes and get the ball moving. And then when we were further up the pitch, him and Estevao, Enzo and Estevao as those eights kind of dropped wider to kind of find space and get us going. So I think that was another thing I was looking for after last week. And again, fair play to Palace and how they set up. They made it difficult for us to do, but I think we found a lot more success in kind of that interchange and interplay in that second phase. Third thing, I just wanted to give a shout out to Wesley Fofana for being back. Spent a lot of money on him a few years ago and really haven't seen much of him. When he has played, for the most part, he's looked very good, but just cannot stay fit. Really unlucky. And I think, again, in the 20 minutes or so that he was on the pitch, he actually showed some things. Wouldn't expect that in a 5-1, but there were a few chances, and he seemed to get across the back line really well. You saw him on the left side of the pitch really changing things defensively, getting in front of shots, so getting all the way across the back line. He looked fit, looked comfortable on the ball, so hopefully we can keep him fit. I think that'd be a huge boost for us to have a full year of him. Fourth thing we learned is that João Pedro and Liam Delap can coexist. Again, it was a West Ham team who really have looked bad. I predicted them to get relegated, but they've looked the part through 2 games. But I think João Pedro a lot of the fan base was scared about him because we saw what happened with Nkunku and João Felix, sort of these positionless forwards. But to me, he's just so intelligent. One thing that I've noticed with him off the ball, he always seems to be making the right decisions. So I think in that 10 role, second striker, he looked really good. And then saw a lot from Delap. In terms of discourse, people weren't really impressed, or there was no GA next to his name. I really enjoyed his performance as an all around 9. For that third goal we scored, his hold up play, and again, just intelligence, movement on those set pieces, which we scored 3 of. He was a key part of that. I really liked what I saw from Delap. I thought he got taken off a little early, but again, it was 5-1, so is what it is on that front. But I really do like what I saw from the both of them in that game. So just another option to have depending on who the opponent is. And then the last thing, Esteval, 5 minutes before kickoff, Palmer's not going to play, groin injury. Hope he's all right. But I mean, he just stepped right in and looked comfortable right away. And we saw 5 minutes in that flick in the middle of the pitch, loses the ball, turns into a goal. So I think those are the learning moments that you need. They're going to happen. I'd rather have it happen against West Ham and then we go on to score 5 than it happen against a team that we're competing with for league position or in the Champions League. So get it out of your system. But I think he did in this game. Always confident. He was sort of playing in that Palmer role that we always talk about wanting to see him in, the right winger with an overlapping fullback. So Gusto was essentially the winger on that side, allowed Esteval to move freely. And he sure did. Probably should have scored a goal later on a great ball from Reece James, but that assist he had, again, the interplay with the 3 of them, Gusto to Delap, Esteval, and then Enzo Fernandez arriving as he's learned to do so well. But I thought Esteval looked brilliant for his full debut, and I think it's going to be tough to keep him out of the lineup if he continues to get minutes and show what he's capable of. So a lot of positives, but Fulham next week, a much more capable team. So you're really going to have to apply it. You can't just kind of waltz in and think you're going to get another easy game. It's not happening.
Yeah, fair. Before we talk about West Ham, because they're shocking to a different degree than I think I was expecting, even though I think we all had them pretty low. Chelsea, you just ran them off the park. Look, there was a scare in the beginning there with the Paqueta goal. I will always be the first person to tell you I just don't rate Paqueta as highly as other people. And the game, while he scored a goal, the 2 ensuing goals after were both caused from Paqueta. So
the third one you can argue.
Yeah, so that's just his player type. West Ham are terrible, so I can't get on him too much.
Wan-Bissaka was actually probably responsible for those first 3. He had a rough game too. Back post, he just can't mark it.
Yeah, no, that's been something that he hasn't been able to do. But from a Chelsea perspective, this was the bounce back performance that you wanted to see from Matchweek 1, and for all 3 of the midfielders to get a goal is pretty impressive. João Pedro is just such a Maverick style player. He's just, like you were kind of saying, he's always in the right spots. But I was impressed just how physically he was able to play within the trees.
He's physical.
Question.
Yeah.
And I think him playing alongside Delap kind of took him away from the Kilmans of the world, and it put him in a spot just below that where he was getting headers. He won, I think the goal and the assist were a header, right? 2 of them.
Yeah.
So physicality, I think if you put him in a position where he's going up against the Ward-Prowses of the world, he's going to dominate those matchups. And so he looked really good. I don't know what you took from the game, Mila, but those were kind of my big takeaways.
I mean, I was watching Esteval a lot. I think he looked really intelligent. Obviously, he's a winger from Brazil, so he's going to have some moments of flair, some over creative things that don't pan out, but you want him to keep trying those. I feel like I talk about this every couple episodes, but if you don't try those things, then you're never going to get those things. So he's going to fail sometimes, but he didn't fail that much compared to what he did try throughout the game, and just his overall spacing and positioning throughout the game really impressed me from such a young player that was just thrown into the team. It's right at during the warm-ups. It's really impressive to me. I think the whole team dominated though, as a whole. But yeah, Esteval definitely stuck out. Tosin, Uncle Tos stuck out
Uncle
as
Toast.
just a solid backline member, and definitely the leading man back there in terms of experience. So, and hey, he's gonna go back to Fulham next week. Is that
Yeah.
the second
Send them another 0 pounds.
or is it at Stamford Bridge?
No, it's at home. I think Neto, I haven't said his name yet, but I think
Yeah.
he's really
He was
going
really
under the
good as well.
radar. He was great again,
Really
and
good.
off the ball does so much. When Esteval came off, I was
looks-
almost upset. I was like, oh, I want to see him play more. But then it's like,
Neto
and
can
Neto
go
can
off.
run for another. He can
That's
run for the
yeah.
rest of this game.
He deserves
Pedro
a
just does
big
a shit.
shout.
It's a
He
shift.
looks strong. He looked strong as fuck on the pitch. That definitely stuck out to me. I just forgot to
Much
look
more
it up.
decisive too, I feel.
I mean, yeah, that, but he was running through people, and no one was. If it was 50-50s, he was winning every one of them. So that was super.
Bro, him and
special.
Cucurella on that side, like off the ball, is just
Energy.
with Caicedo too. Yeah, bro, watch out. None of those small shin pads, bro. You can't have that with these guys. Random question: Do you think Robert Sanchez was in any way at fault for the goal?
It's just a fucking good goal, dude.
It was a good goal. I agree,
It's
but
just
do
a
we
good
think he
goal.
could have done better?
Maybe. Look,
Because like
he
when I
pulls up.
saw it, his feet are going the wrong way. Like it's like something I've noticed with Onana when he gets caught out is like the footwork is bad, right? Like the timing of the leap is bad, and he got caught out there. But again, you probably don't anticipate that type of shot getting hit. I think
No,
Caicedo could get tighter. Chalaba perhaps could get tighter.
that's it. That for me, any shot.
More
you
credit
take
goes to the
from-
goal.
Any shot from
sure.
that range is on your defenders more than your goalie, unless the goalie is completely bamboozled and is like guessing and he's in the wrong position. Like Sanchez just
It did
didn't
juke him a
wasn't
bit.
expecting.
It did juke him a bit.
He wasn't expecting the shot, and so the ball comes across him, and then he's kind of misshaped.
I wasn't happy with it, Dylan. Let me just put it that
I know
way.
you weren't, but for me that doesn't fall on the keeper. Like it's just an
Oh,
incredible.
you don't
shot.
blame
And
him for
if
it, but
he makes
maybe
the
a better
save-
keeper does it.
If we're
Maybe a
if
better
he
keeper.
save, we go, holy crap, what a save by Robert Sanchez. It's not like one of those where because he missed the save, I was like, you know what?
Oh yeah,
Robert's
yeah. I agree.
So
And he made a very good save later in the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the
Good
tactical
save.
flexibility. I love that from Maresca, just showing the willingness to do what's best for the game at hand. But yeah, West Ham were awful. There was so much space in the middle of the pitch compared to Palace last week, where there's not an inch. Really, I think the most concerning thing would be you hope Palmer's fit. So I think again, West Ham are that bad. I do think the conversation more goes to them. You guys know me. I've been a Potter truther for a very long time, but I might be okay to. It might be time to wave the white flag.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe
no
in
life
hindsight-
behind his eyes anymore.
And it's sad to see. I do think because
Like,
I do
there's
think at
nothing
one
there.
point in time he was a high level coach, but maybe in hindsight it's more of the Brighton system, right? Because we saw De Zerbi come in, do a job, Hertzler come in, do a job. So maybe it's more Brighton credit than Potter credit. And I think to his Chelsea tenure, I don't think anyone could really salvage what was going on in that point in time. But with West Ham, and again, he came in the middle of the season in another ugly situation, but it only looks worse now. So
Mhm.
well, this
think-
team
Granted,
is
they did
fucking
lose some
awful.
players. They didn't.
This team
they
is
didn't do
fucking
any
awful.
favors.
For sure, but I have no clue what they're trying to do when I watch. You know what I mean? Like
That's fair.
at a certain point, you see the ideas where it's like, okay, that's something. Even with Poach, we saw it, but I'm still not seeing it there, and I hate. You really do hate to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I think at
Oh.
this point and with West Ham, they have like one or two good players. Like Bowen is a good player, and you just have to play to the idea that he can potentially put you on his back and carry you to wins. And playing him as a second striker just doesn't suit that. Like when they switched the formation to the 4-3-3 for a little bit, they looked a lot
Yeah.
better. And I think that some of Potter's ideas are good because honestly, they looked good for the first 15 minutes. Like they were leading and then you guys scored and they scored again while it was offsides.
Right.
Like there was some stuff, but then once something went bad, it was like, holy
Heads
shit,
went
this team
down. It was
just
over.
this team can't compete.
They didn't
And
fight back at all.
no, and I think he's potentially just kind of lost the locker room, and it's a tough place to be in. And he's not like a culture manager either, so I don't really see the
he does
guys
not
being
have
like,
the personality for it. He
Yeah.
doesn't.
if you had to take a betting favorite to be the first manager sacked, he's probably it. He's probably it, just because I don't know. West Ham can go get a guy like Sean Dyche and just put him in and kind of plug and play to try to keep him out of rotation.
Nuno's the one that's starting to feel like it's going to happen with what's going on over at Forest. It kind of feels like that's about to end, and I feel like Nuno and West Ham makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's not even a manager thing at this point. Like, that team is just fucking so atrocious on paper.
It's pretty bad.
I don't look at them, and even the subs they bring on, I'm like, geez, like these guys are just in a rough spot. Like, if you're trotting out a midfield two of Souček and Ward-Prowse, like, you're in danger. You're in danger every single week because it's just not good enough physically. Like, Ward-Prowse
still has those deliveries on lock.
No, and if he's playing in a 10 role, that's great. But like, you're just asking too much of the players. And so to a certain extent, like, I am critical of Paqueta. That's probably a reason why he's looked as bad as he has, is because that team is just awful around him.
Diouf is supposed to be good.
He actually if any player was like a bright spot, it's him.
Yeah.
He looks good.
You just don't get a good rating when you take 5.
No.
Hermansen looked awful, which is brutal because he was. I've seen him last year. He had some good games for Leicester. He was really good for them when they were in the championship. But he's been awful these first 2 games. I mean, those 4th and 5th goals were huge errors from him. It was a tough watch.
Subpar.
Yeah. It's a sign of a bad team when you concede that many corners in a single.
Bro, there was only like 5 corners and we scored on 3 of them.
Yeah.
We scored on 3 out of 5 corners.
How many corners did you guys score off of last season?
Not many. I was complaining about it a lot, I think.
So, like, the idea that like, Pedro got on the end
set piece coaches in phase 2, Dylan. That's all that is.
It was ugly. That's what it was from a perspective. And unless they write like next week, he's probably out. I think the international window being there, like, if they don't come out there and show at least some spirit, some fight, like, you're looking at a new coach by the end of the international window.
I think they're just going to wait for that Nuno situation to play out because, again, that I feel like that's done. Like, he's already gone. Like, it's a matter of time, just the way it's going, the way the public statements have come out. So I just think that it just makes sense. Pragmatic, get back to your roots, stay safe, go from there.
We'll have to probably touch on that situation over the international break because you're right. It'll be probably ironed out by then. But what just a funky, weird situation that only can be described by Nottingham Forest over the last.
Right now, I mean, Marinakis, you've never really heard his name in the headlines before, so this is shocking to me. For one, those chants at Palace were crazy.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was crazy. Anything else on this match, or do we just move on and hopefully there's
Cup final Saturday.
Cup final on Saturday. Alrighty, Mr. Mila. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
All right. First thing learned. I mean, we were all talking about it right when it happened, like slightly after it happened. But I think structurally, we cannot operate without an Aït-Nouri, Gvardiol. And then I was thinking, why didn't O'Reilly come in? I watched the game twice, and it came to me 20 minutes ago. So,
wow, it's funny. It's funny how that works, huh?
Yeah. I think
maybe he's a midfielder now.
Dude, fuck that.
Maybe he's viewed as a midfielder now. It's a good thing. Long run.
What I learned from that though is that we need that type of profile there, and the option to bring in Ake was not acceptable because he's not up to speed anymore to play that left back position. He might be a good one-on-one defender still. But if he gets beat, there's no recovery speed. And in this transition defense that we have right now, it's not going to cut it. So I think we're going to have to say bye to him in the coming days. Just tough because you guys know I'm a big fan. But we got to do what we got to do. The Aït-Nouri injury, Gvardiol injury is scary. You would think that Ake would play based off what just happened. But my hopes now is that it's going to be O'Reilly playing in that left back position. Second, obviously adjustments need to be made for Trafford. He's still getting used to being in between the sticks at City. And I don't want to overreact too much to that because anyone that thinks Donnarumma is going to come in and do a better job of that,
he's booting it up to Holland.
He might do the same thing, just at more volume. So it was a lack of judgment from him for sure, but it happens. I've seen Ederson do that too, so let's not get our panties in a wad. Third, still fucking wasteful as ever. Last season was the epitome of that, and that was kind of just a flashback for me in just a couple of those chances that we had. The two that stuck out to me were definitely that Marmoush one, and especially with Rodrigo links looming over your head. I'd like to think that Rodrigo would put that away, like bury that. So it's just disappointing that Marmoush didn't. Granted, given like all that Holland did in the build up to that ball, which was also great. Kind of just got robbed of an assist there. The second one I think would be their little goalkeeper fuck up. Vicario's been in the league for a while and he's still doing those mistakes, which leads me back to it's okay if Trafford does one in his first 2 games for City. But we were right there. Bob does really good off ball to press 99% of the game. And he wins that ball back, gets it to Holland. Holland it just overpowers the cross to Cherokee, and we don't get a goal out of it. Both of those changed the game, momentum-wise, trajectory-wise. So I think those were big moments, and were just wasteful. 4, pretty simple, but the curse shall continue. Tottenham curse.
Yep.
We get one every now and then, but a majority of the time they're gonna beat us. And then on top of that, the Thomas Frank curse is not a cancel outer, but more of a multiplier. So
It really is.
So you will not beat them for another 4 years.
Yeah, we won't beat them until like they have something to win against us, and then that's when we'll beat them.
Yeah, it's like Champions League semifinals. Tottenham somehow end up there.
Yeah.
Battered.
That's the game. They beat us the last 12 fixtures, but they lose to us in that one that matters. Yeah, we can beat them with that one. The last one, Foden and Rodri got minutes, and those minutes had little sparks of what we're missing in the midfield. And I think it's a good look into the future of this season in what the starting midfield will be of Foden, Rodri, and Reinders, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. Neither Foden or Rodri are fit, or were allegedly fit, but they come on and gave good minutes. I thought Foden looked especially. He had a spring in his step, and he had a smile on his face that kind of pissed me off earlier in the game. But I thought about it, and looking back to last season where he wasn't giving any smiles at all, I think this is a good change in mentality for him. So I'm definitely excited to see those minutes, and then on top of that, Gavardio needs to come back because those 3 are some of our best players on the team, and with all 3 of them out, it's going to be really difficult to be near that top level.
Yeah.
I think Foden was laughing at the Spurs fans singing "Champions of Europe." Yeah,
it's just not a good. It's
not a good look. Yeah,
I'd laugh too.
It's just an interesting.
Know your coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Interesting match. Like you said, I just chalked this up to them being your bogey team. Like there were so many people online that were like, man, and we did it a little bit too. Like, man, City beat the shit out of Wolves. Like they're so back. And then like this match, it's like, well, they're just nowhere near their levels. Like there's a give and take
somewhere
here.
In the
there's
middle.
There's a give and take here. Yeah,
it's definitely in the middle of that. And that injury is huge. Like I think Marmoush could have had a huge impact in the game, and 23 minutes in, that impact is just halved by that injury and the substitution of Ake rather than an O'Reilly.
Yeah, no, Marmoush just looked like he was on an island, and like that's exactly what your point's laying at. Like we all said it when it happened.
Yeah, they set up for one thing, and Nuri and Ake, if you guys weren't familiar, do 2 very different things if they're playing that same position. So Marmoush, again, a guy out wide, he's not going to beat you with pace or dribble you. That's not really him. When you have a Ait Nuri, he's able to drift inside, play his game. It just didn't look right in today's game. It doesn't excuse the finishes that he didn't convert. He's in front of goal, but as a whole, he just didn't really get his game off. But I think, yeah, I expected Tottenham to go 5 in the back, but that midfield 3, which again, I don't think is going to be a midfield 3. They play much once Kulusevski's fit, but low-key, he's not going to be fit for a while. But absolute animals in the middle. Just I think
Their
Polina has
press
added
looks
so much.
really
He's
nice.
added so much for this team. He's just allowing these 8s to not play as 6s. They can actually play their position. Just having that destroyer in there. And to your point, Mila, their press looked so good. They looked very organized. It looks like Frank's been there for a long time already. He's so adaptable. I think, again, he's going to be able, by the end of the year, we're going to be able to evaluate who should stay and who shouldn't. And it'll be very clear because I think they're all being platformed to do their best. Like, look at Richarlison. Like, he works his ass off for this team. And I think Pop Sar, same thing. And I think with City too, like, yeah, their midfield got bullied, but at the same time, a fit Rodri solves a very high amount of their issues. Like, I think he
I don't think
fixes so
Gonzalez
much.
really played that bad either.
I didn't
But
think so
No,
it's
either.
not
just
necessarily.
that
Spurs were just really good.
Yeah, I mean I think that midfield three also is all new guys. All of those guys have been here less than a year.
Yes.
There's going to be issues with that. They haven't molded. They haven't built that connection. I'm hoping that if a Rodri, Foden, Reinders, and you're just throwing in the new guy Reinders in there, that'll click much easier. And also
Next
those
to
two are much
Rodri and
easier to
Foden, I'm
play
sure
with.
he'd be able to. It's
Exactly.
a lot easier. Yeah. I
Mhm.
think Rodri solves a lot of their problems because, again, the big thing that I'm taking away from City is they're still vulnerable in transition. It's the same problem. Obviously, it's not as bad as the 1-13 run that they had, but that's still an issue. I mean, the defending wasn't great. And again, they're getting caught out. So it's not like they're being put in good situations to defend. Like, it's not tough. It's not easy to have Kudus running at you, Johnson back post. Like, it's tough, but I still think that's the big concern. But again, a fit Rodri solves a lot of their problems.
Yeah, no, it felt it's so funny. I think United and City played pretty similar, like overall. Like if you're looking at like objectifying the game, I thought they played pretty similar games where it was like played well for the first 15, missed a big chance, and then it just all kind of crumbled, and it went back to reverting to last year's ways very quickly. This is the midfield that like everyone wanted to see, at least from my understanding, for City, and it just. It's a styles makes fights thing here. I think Frank just got this one maybe right in the sense of like Paulinho, Bentancur, and Sarr are just way better athletes than Reinders and Cherky in that sense. And
Yeah,
so it was
I
more of
mean,
just they were able to combat a lot of what like Cherky does well. And not that Cherky had like an awful game or anything.
he was dropping fairly deep.
Yeah.
A
It's the
little
only
too
time he
deep.
got on.
Apparently he was doing that for Leon as well.
Mhm.
It's some people's gripes with him. But he doesn't need to do that. To Grant's point, if Rodri's in the team, no one's going to be doing that. If Rodri's in the team, he's going to be the one connecting the midfield to the defense. So these things will
Guy does
change.
everything in the middle.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, to both of your guys' points, and we didn't even talk about him at all yet, is that the center back pairing were not good.
No.
Stone slips, Diaz loses a header, and then there goes the first goal. A lot of people online want to put that down to Rico. I don't think you could put it on Rico when both of your center backs just had a blunder. Especially when we have a rapid just missile of a center back on the bench waiting to come on and take someone out in a play like that. So decisions were made and we have to live with them. And back to Grant's point about the left-footed left center back being able to have better angles, we did not have that with Diaz, and that hurt a lot, I think, in this game, especially with the high press. So we're gonna have to adjust. We don't have that left-footed center back unless it's Gavardio. He's the only one. So once people come back to full fitness, I think we'll see a lot more. But I was saying that last year for a long time. So
yeah. Well, I think those gay he links didn't come out of nowhere with exactly what you're saying. You talk about a left-footed center back, like that's gay.
It's gonna piss a lot of
Is he
people
not?
off, though.
No, he plays on the left side though.
He's played
Oh,
left
okay.
side.
So is he
He has a
two-footed?
good left foot. Yeah,
Okay.
It's not bad, but yeah.
Diaz just doesn't excite me with his ball playing ability. It's
Yeah,
not
let
bad.
alone weak
It's
foot,
nowhere near
Yeah.
bad. He's a fairly decent player on the ball, but it's not anything to write home about. Where I've seen a lot from the likes of Kusanov in just his little minutes for City. He has that willingness to just rifle a ball through the lines to make a play. And then even Juma Ba, just the stuff we see from his little clips at Nice, like he looks willing to make those passes. Granted, it is a lesser league in our eyes, but that's the competition, and that's what is trying to break into the team, and kind of what we're missing. So it's a good sign and a bad sign, because I think Diaz is going to be here for a fair while, because he just extended and looks like he's on the road to being a captain. So yeah, they need to adapt, or we need to bring in someone next to him that can do that. And Stones, on his day, looks like a top 5 center back in the world, but it's not often that we get that, I feel like.
Fair. I want to close this out with like just a wrap up with Spurs, because while I think this has been a great start and Thomas Frank is a good manager and I think he's going to raise their floor. He's raised it so much already. This isn't the point of the season where I was concerned with Spurs, and it's still not. I will be concerned once Champions League kicks in and where they actually start to play multiple games a week. I think that's where they're going to be at their weakest. I just don't think that they're a side that can rotate a ton and be great. The subs that they brought on, I thought were not awesome, except for maybe Danso, and he came on for 5 minutes and he was just there to clear away headers. I look at that side and it doesn't strike me
You don't
with
think Dominic Solanke's awesome?
I think he's awesome. It's not like
Odegaard?
Yeah, Odegaard was not. It doesn't strike me. It doesn't strike me.
Bergvall. You weren't terrified?
No, and it's not that I don't think they will be decent, because they will be decent. I just think that the number of games with the guys that have proven that they can't stay healthy, to Mila's point about City, like these guys have not proven they can be healthy, and the way that he likes to play, like the pressing system and the style, I can't trust it until I see it for a sample size of like 15 or so games, and we won't really.
Do you think they sign anyone? Do you think they make any more signings?
Fucking Levy can't
keep making them.
Levy can't get it over the line, dude. That like Hencappy would be a great signing, and this is a Levy issue, man. This is
I don't know why Arsenal are going for him,
because they can. Because they can.
It's funny, like no doubt. Like when we were doing it to Arsenal a few years ago, like, it is funny to just kind of take someone just to take them. But yeah, I think maybe Arteta's just been patiently waiting for his left back, center back hybrid this whole window. He's been disgusted with the amount of attackers that they're being linked to.
With set pieces.
I've already seen a Hencappy set piece comp.
Change up the formula a little bit.
He's a good player. Facundo was saying that we should go after him. I wasn't of that camp.
The money in the Prem is just ridiculous. Like Arsenal, like I think Facundo's have made the point of like that we aren't able to spend at the level of a City or Chelsea or United. They are now on that level, and so is Liverpool.
Yeah, we gotta talk to him.
All the top teams now are in this bracket.
He's gonna talk about it's the PSR cycle. We can only do it every 3 years. You guys do it every year.
That's fine.
We're in a net positive this window, Facundo. We're making money over here, so I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, dude, I got no problem with Arsenal spending money. Yeah. I think it's so.
Don't play victim.
Yeah, and I don't think they can anymore. They won't. They won't. Yeah. They don't need to. They will play victim to other things, but I don't think they can play victim to this anymore.
Well, speaking of playing victim, you reminded me, like, the referees have been awful all across the board through the first 2 weeks.
Oh god, they've been terrible.
I don't think we've really mentioned it yet in any one game specifically, but I just think all around they've been horrific. It's always been consistency, and they've already been inconsistent.
Newcastle game.
They've been inconsistent 2 weeks in. It's just been bad.
That wasn't inconsistency.
There's only one team that they're going to be consistent towards. And we can just let that assumption sit. If anyone's watched this pod, they know exactly who we're talking about. But everyone else has had their ups and downs, and I think it'll end up balancing each other out.
My specific example that came to mind was in the United game, which we're about to get into, of course. But it was a penalty given to United for some housery in the box, and then United score a goal with some very comparable housery, and it doesn't get disallowed. Like, to me, I don't think either are a foul or a penalty, whatever. But again, there's no consistency. I'm always lost when it comes to what they're trying to do. I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
It's just bad again. That's at least semi-automated offsides is in. That's good. Yeah. Everything else sucks.
I think at this point, it's just every team is going to have their games where they get the calls and they don't get the calls. And at the end of the season, it will balance out. Maybe there will be some teams that'll get way more or way less. And it'll just, because look, like Bayern Deer gets fucking touched up every single time there's a corner and there's no call. I saw Emi Martinez flop and just get a call that disallowed a goal. And so like,
yeah, but that's the thing with
Best
Bayern
goalkeeper in the world,
either
though.
he needs to flop or go through the guy, and he does the in between, and
But-
that's his fault though. At the end of
but
the day,
but
like,
why should that if it's a reffing
because
thing
he
where if
has
you're
that,
flopping,
but like in the goalkeeper sense, like he has that advantage where he is viewed less harshly in those situations. So he can go over these guys, he can jump on them to win the ball, and he's choosing not to, and he's not going down when he gets fouled. So I think it's on him in that scenario.
yeah, I mean, he's going to lose his spot because of it. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be stronger. I just think that like to just the reffing like disparity when it comes to that stuff, like it just feels
I
weird
think
to me.
you just I get what you're saying, but I think you made the difference is that Emmy went down and Bayern Deer doesn't go down. He just stands there and takes it.
The worst part is if he does go down, I can almost guarantee you there will be no call. Like I can almost
It's
guarantee you
something to look
because of the
at.
way that
If
it's gone at.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in the Spurs game last year. Is he got touched up, he fell, and it went in the net, and there was no call, and there was no
Then he's
VAR,
gotta go
and it
through
just
them
stood.
and kill them.
But like this is the issue.
Or
Is
get
like
shipped off.
he's
Yeah, I
going
can't defend him.
No, I can't. I'm not. I'm just.
No.
I'm defending the action. I don't care that it's Bayern Deer. Like if I was to put Onana in the same situation, I would be
Sure, yeah.
saying the same stuff. Like
They're
you
just
can't
both so
let
comically
someone-
bad.
Yeah, and look, they're both going to be gone in a second, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Refs
That's
suck.
more of just a petty. Yeah, that's a petty thing for me because I'm fucking trying to pick at straws here.
It ain't easy.
No, it's not. Yeah. So like I was saying to the City point, like I thought City and United played pretty similar games, which was my first point, which is like United have played 3 halves of football where it's been the new United, and then they just reverted straight back to the old United, and they dropped points, and that's just kind of been the MO. This team hits any form of momentum switch, or they don't get the right bounce. It almost feels like they're cursed at this point, and I think it's just like you create your own luck, you create your own outcomes, and this United team doesn't do a good enough job of creating their own luck. And so every single time that they get pinned against the wall, it always goes wrong. It just always goes wrong. And that's disappointing because it's Manchester United. We're supposed to be on the right end of that momentum stuff most of the time. We pay for that. That's what you pay players for. Yeah, whatever. Lesson number 2. I'm so tired of seeing Diego Dalot play for Manchester United. I was pretty quickly on he needed to be transferred out, and I thought that he had value, and I have no idea why he's still here. I don't care if he is a leader in the dressing room. There's enough of those in there now for me not to care about Diego Dalot. Like the goal is solely on him. The ball gets played into him. He's got his back facing goal, and for whatever reason, he tries to play in the inside. He's being pressed by 2 guys. He knows that that's there. He's playing right wing back in the system, which it doesn't fit him. And look, that turnover leads to chaos in the box, which leads to Bruno having to defend a player, which he probably shouldn't be. It should be the 6. And it just leads to mayhem. And Diego Dalot is always on the end of that. And so if he's going to provide that, like, what is he really providing value for in the squad for me? I just don't get it. I think they could have gotten a guy like Dumfries, and he would have done a way better job at what Diego Dalot is currently doing for the side. So that's my second point. Is he's just not good enough. Yeah. Sorry, this is bringing up a lot of PTSD from the match because it's just disappointing at this point. 3, I have United is too direct. Every single game, including preseason now, I sit there and I go, just put your foot on the ball and just let's play with some possession here. Let's just slow the pace down. They're so aggressive in trying to get Cunha and Mbomo like pushing forward that it's leading to just long ball city. And I know that's part of the structure, and I know that's part of the tactical plan. It's not the entire tactical plan. Like I watched them do it last year where they put their foot on the ball and they just take a second to breathe. But when they're playing with Casemiro and Bruno, like they just feed off each other in this sense where like the ball gets played to Casemiro and he's immediately sending it 40 yards like it's a bomb. because he's not physically able to move the ball with his feet. And so I just want to see them control the games a little bit better. I think that with Ahmad in the side, they do that a little bit better. Like, he just puts his foot on the ball and just is able to pass to somebody. I think if they're able to do that, they can take out those moments in matches where the momentum flips and they're just kicking it long and giving it right back to like a Fulham. Because that's what happened. Like, United would get the ball back, just hoof it, and it was right back into that defensive shape. I'll finish the last two things with some positivity. Cunha was really bright. I think that first goal is coming for him. He is a Maverick player. I think he got unlucky not to have scored in this game. Like, he hits the post and Leno makes a great save, but all of his actions are in the right spots. And so when you pair him up against like what Garnacho was doing last year, like, it's just night and day difference. And so eventually I think he gets over the line, gets his goal, and maybe that can help United kind of get out of this scoring funk, because we still haven't scored, I think, or our players haven't scored a goal in like 5 games or something, which is pretty impressive outside of the Villa game. And then my fifth one is I'm expecting C.O.C to start the next game, and I thought he was really good in his actions in this one. I think you can see why the striker profile is just a much better fit in the system. And his physical profile, like, there were multiple times where he just got the ball, was able to shield it for a second and get it to Cunha. And like, that's going to be a night and day difference when he's able to do that. And Mbumo's got full legs under him for like a start of the game, instead of it being like Mount trying to play him in, or Mbumo's trying to wrestle with fucking Bassi. Like, that's never going to work. It's just not going to work. And so,
I mean, just proper hold up play, proper target man.
Yeah, which we haven't had in Amarim's system. So I'm excited to start.
That is not a target man. That guy wants to run. He like a gazelle.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what he wants
Napoli,
to do.
man.
I don't know. I wish we haven't seen much from C.O.C yet, to me. But again, it's been 2 cameos. He hasn't trained much. Like, so it's, to me, there's just not much to take.
Yeah, I think it's.
But yeah, the ball taking.
Given.
I guess the point that came to mind, Dylan, when you were mentioning your things that you learned, is the number 3. I think the personnel does not allow you to do that. To your point, Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte, another horrible cameo. I think that was probably. I understand why you're as frustrated with Dallo as you are, but to me, just in isolation, that Ugarte cameo was worse. That was awful.
He saved us from losing that game, and it was thrown to his defensive actions. We'll get into the Menu paradox. I am less on Ugarte because I just don't think that it's necessarily all his fault. If that makes sense.
I don't think he helps his case either. But again,
he hasn't been good, and he wasn't good in this game. But there were moments where he was good. Like, they had a couple set pieces. He put his body on the line. He made a couple blocks, got the ball clear. Like, we probably do lose the game if he doesn't come on, because Casemiro just does not have the legs to play.
Well, it was the Mount Bruno pivot for like 10 minutes. That was crazy. I couldn't believe what was going on.
That is more unacceptable to me than Ugarte playing minutes. That's way more unacceptable to me.
Oh, it's awful.
I just can't understand it. I can't understand it.
Yeah, and I think that goes into deeper things. Because again, that first 15 minutes, at least, I was like, oh my God, like, United looked really good. I thought they looked really good. And from that point on, it kind of went back and forth. And then Fulham in the second half were just all over them. The entire half. The entire half. And you heard the manager talking about it. You heard Iwobi talking about it after the game. But they knew exactly what United were going to do. They knew where the space was. And it was simple. Again, they probably could have ended up coming out with a win. They don't. I think
talk about that penalty.
Yeah.
That's in my fantasy team, bro. I knew that was going to happen.
Point, but obviously, if he puts that away, momentum changes. Their heads are down. Heads go up when you miss a penalty like that, especially the opposing team who conceded the penalty. Hope's alive. It's 0-0 still. So
ball don't lie.
Yeah, I think if he puts that penalty away, the game easily could have been put away. You guys could have just strolled out. Maybe it would have been a little difficult, but you get the 3 points. And he skies it over. I don't know.
That's so early for me, though.
Of course. I think the other people can maybe step up for the penalty.
Because they still got their goal. You know what I mean?
They're all new,
At least that's
in
how
my
I see
eyes.
it.
So I think I don't know, Dylan. What do you think?
Look, Bruno, the stat that Sleeper put out there was that he's missed the most penalties since he's came in. That's because he's taken every single penalty for United since he's came in. Like, that's bound to
Manchester
happen.
United, of course.
And he was actually, he was like unstoppable at penalties all of last season. So like, he misses one. It's not the end of the world to me. The reaction when they did miss it wasn't bad. Like Grant said, we got the next goal. It's just a lack of control. And the United and City Point, where they played the same game, it was a game of ifs. Like, if Cunha puts away one of those two chances, who knows where we're at? If Bruno puts away this penalty, who knows where we're at? Bruno could have made the penalty and we could have gone on to lose this game. Like, and so that's less of a talking point to me. It's more about just like, they don't control matches. Like, they went up 1-0 and immediately just arm punted the rest of the match. And it came to, this is why the Dalot sub was so angry. Like, Ahmed wasn't great, but we just lost all control once Dalot came into the match. We went into a 5-back and just lost control of the ball. Like, we were leading in possession all of the first half, and then
the subs hurt. Each sub was bad.
Yeah, the end of the game, we end up with 48% possession. So I'm not harsh on Bruno.
One of you said it about the City game, but they almost just reverted to last year, because I felt like at the beginning too, like the pressing structure looked better. Even Shaw looked fit enough to step up and on people. I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. And again, by the end of it, it just reminded me of last year. It felt like a very similar performance by the end.
In a lot of players
subbing in Maguire at the end. Like, if I were a United fan, I'd be tired of that. Like, it's funny because it's like, oh yeah, Maguire and his first touch is a header just wide. But it's like, fuck, like, this guy's been here almost a full year now, and it's still just sub Maguire and then throw him up top. I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, it's the well's running dry. I gotta see something.
That he's always made center back subs, so that's not new to me. And I'm not like angry at that. Like, look, like, he almost scored, so it's effective. It does work. And when you have Sesko and Maguire, that becomes a viable option. Look, Arsenal do that every single week. So I think that's fine to me. And Maguire's like not a bad player in this system. So I have no problem with that sub.
Who's a good player in the system, though? They haven't won 2 Premier League games in a row under the manager. I think.
No.
And again, I was a fan of his for a little while, and I was pretty defensive of, he's probably the guy to take them back. And for me, I kind of base that more, I'd say, on like the personality, right? And like, he always said the right things, like right when he came in about the standards. Like, I just felt like he was the right guy. But from what I'm seeing, like in the second year of things, and again, it is super early. I am being reactionary. Like, it's just a gut feeling, and 2 games of evidence is, I guess, enough for me to be comfortable with saying it. But fuck, I'm really starting to doubt it. It's just the lack of adaptation. And Facundo is going to laugh at me when he hears this, because he told me this pretty much 6 months ago. But nothing seems to be changing. And even mid-game, like, Fulham started with a 5-back. They switched it middle of the game. Like, Amorim, you don't really see him do that, maybe ever. So that's just one thing with him. But you kind of brought it up a little bit with the Mainu paradox. But I think there's a lot of things that are starting to make me think, like, you're not getting the best out of any of your players. And it's unfair to compare. But when you look at Thomas Frank, and again, 2 games, included Super Cup, 3 games, but he's immediately got in there, and it looks like his stamp is on this team. We understand what they're trying to do already. And we're not mentioning the formation that he's playing. We're just saying, oh, this is what Frank's doing. And we're saying they're pressing high, all this. With Amorim, I'm starting to struggle.
Club at all either. Tottenham were in a high right now.
Yeah,
for sure.
At a valley, if anything, or a peak, because
for sure. That's why it's not fair to compare.
United are the opposite. Like, Amorim's taking them from the dumps. So yeah, in that way, I think it is super hard to compare that.
Yeah, unfair comparison. But I'm starting to doubt it, because the base, like, the simplest way to look at it for me is like, okay, who's he improving, or who's he getting the best out of, right? Like, you start there, and that's where you struggle. You start to think, and a lot of people, maybe they've regressed. Some players that you like are getting forced out of the club. Maybe we're not doing this the right way. I don't know. I'm just starting to question it, and there's a few more things that, in terms of personnel, if we get right, then maybe there's a jump. Maybe there's a boost in form. Maybe they get rolling a little bit. To your point, Cunha really unlucky not to score. If he puts away both of those, 2-0 early, you get going, you get comfortable, you win the game easily. Who knows? But my gut feeling is just it's not looking good for his long-term future with the club.
Yeah, he's
think
running
would
out of
be-
time.
I think that's crazy.
He hasn't won
just
2 games in a row.
I know,
That's
but
crazy.
you can't. We keep talking about this. Like, you can't just keep sacking dudes
I
and
agree,
bringing in
but
another guy that does a terrible job. It's clearly not the manager at that point.
I agree
Yeah.
with the
I-
sentiment. But with
I don't
him in particular, in this case, what's the point
I
where it's
really
like,
don't
okay, the
know. I feel
manager's
like there has
not
to
good
be
enough?
some consistency. Like, especially with the
Yeah.
players too. If the player doesn't know if they're gonna have 1 or 4 coaches in 2 years in a contract span, they can have 6 coaches. That's crazy. There has to be some consistency in the club, and like, you just can't be doing this. I don't understand.
I
And
do agree with the sentiment
who else
where
are
it's
you
like
gonna bring
you
in?
want. I don't love that question because for me, you could bring in Areola in the middle of the year, but we brought
No,
in
but like
Maresca from the
they
championship.
keep
He
bringing
worked
in
out.
guys that they think are better too, though, is the issue, and like, it's not improving as maybe as fast as they want.
Right.
But I also think that's down to, yeah, they have to keep fucking resetting every 13 months.
Yeah.
So
This guy
my
hasn't had a full year at the club yet.
That's true. He
We're
definitely
talking
needs
like
more
this.
time this year. You don't sack him tomorrow. I do agree
Right.
with that
I think it's just
100%.
crazy.
But what point do you get to where you know it's not this manager is kind of what I'm saying. Because I agree with your standpoint of like, no, you need consistency to build. You need a foundation. But at what point do you realize he's the wrong guy for the foundation? Like how long does that take?
Like,
I don't think he's the wrong guy for the foundation because
I
if you
don't
look
think
at the
he
way
is
that
either.
the way that they're run now, the way that physically the players look, like he's set a culture which hasn't been there. And so from that standpoint, like he's done a really good job. The tactics portion, if you rewind this to last week when we're talking about them playing Arsenal, we're going, wow, Amram's system is starting to take shape. And I don't think that it's his fault that he's running out Casemiro still in the midfield. And that's just because he doesn't have any other options.
If they
He
picked up a
just doesn't.
midfielder,
Mainu.
then
Mainu's a really good
No,
midfielder
not in what
this
they
is a
need.
great time
because
to
he
jump into
can't use him. Right.
the main
That's
the main
So,
No,
yeah,
bro, they need
paradox.
I think they need a 6. We all
they
know
do.
need a
I do
6.
agree, Mila. But
You just said
my whole
Ugarte's
thought
not good
is
enough, Casemiro's not good enough, and then you
agreed.
can't bring
They
Mainu
absolutely
into
need
the
a 6.
conversation.
Mainu's
He's
not
not
a
the plug.
6.
He's not the plug
I agree.
whatsoever. So
But I guess my reason in saying that is yes, he does not fit in the system. That's the problem.
you
Like
want him to
this
change
kid
the
is
system to
way
make
too
it fit?
talented. No, this kid is one of your most talented midfielders. He should be getting in the team in my head. Obviously not in this team the way they set up, but I feel like that's a big problem, almost pushing out one of your better academy graduates because he doesn't fit in the system of the coach who hasn't won 2 games in a
Who
row
would
yet.
you put him? I don't know.
I don't think
Even
they're
if you
pushing
did
him
another
out.
system, I think these players are outperforming him right now. Mount's been playing really good. You just brought in 2 60 to 70 million pound
Well, Mount's playing
players
false
in
nine.
Cunha and Boumaier. Okay,
L-
but
l-
so was Mainu. Mainu was playing the
He
9.
did that for a
Like,
half.
And
he did that for a half,
Mount's done
but
it
where
better
is he
than
fitting in? Is my question, because Bruno's the fucking captain.
that's the
Right.
issue.
I
the heart
think
of the
he's
That's
an
the
team.
8.
paradox.
So
That's the
where?
paradox, is
Like
where do
you
you-
like that Bruno's playing that 8.
I
that
agree.
is
He
the-
doesn't fit in the system.
No, he fits. It's the 8.
He
The issue
fits.
is
There's
he's playing with
competition.
Bruno Fernandes in front of him. And
Yeah,
right
Bruno's not
now,
an
in this
8.
current moment,
clearly fits in the
Bruno
system.
Fernandes is better than Mainu. And there's a lot of talk about how Mainu is a star boy and he was better in maybe 2 years ago and he played in the
Ten Hag.
Euros. Yeah, that's great. Mainu was awful last season. I'm not going to paint it differently. And I think that everyone's trying to paint this image like Mainu was not good and he wasn't healthy and he didn't perform with Ten Hag and he didn't perform with Amram. And so I get that he's very special talent, but he needs molding. He came onto the scene very early and was very, very bright. We've seen this with a lot of players where we throw them into the deep end. We expect them to be class A players. And look, he was for like a 6-month span. And then he reverted back to being an 18-year-old a little bit. And so the main new paradox for me is just finding a way to play him in the 8 and recognizing that I honestly didn't think Mbeumo was very good in this match. And I thought that you could have just put, if it's, you can't take off your captain, you can't take off Bruno, move him into Mbeumo's position and put Mainu in the 8 there. There is ways to fit him into the 8 position in matches and have him affect games. And I think that he starts on Wednesday. No, and I don't think you should
Oh,
be.
Grimsby, yeah, he'll definitely play.
Oh,
And I don't think you should be.
Second
hasn't-
round
I
is
just
terrible,
think-
Mila.
I think just to that point too is that if he is the Bruno understudy, Bruno's not some 25-year-old stud in the league.
31,
he's,
no?
he's 31 exactly. So just be the understudy for 2 years.
I don't even think
Take
it's gonna
that
be
spot
2.
from him. Work.
Me
Okay,
neither.
even if it's not, but like if he's just not spoiled about it and he waits his turn,
I don't think
he
he's been
can be-
spoiled, to be fair.
no, I'm not saying he is.
Yeah.
But the idea of like if he demands to leave in a week from now and says I don't want to be here for whatever reason, if you do stay here, you get that 8 spot and you get to learn from Bruno. You get to make your way in. I don't think that's the end of the world that he's not starting at his young age. Yes, he can get
Agreed.
significant minutes, but I do think there's a place for him in this team. It's not that he's getting phased out. It's that he can't compete with the competition for that position.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, I guess the way I see it is like the fact that these questions are even a question makes it a problem, right? Like that's just what it is in my head. But again, to your guys' point, it is a problem like expecting these teenagers to be week in, week out players and be able to deal with all this. Like that is a lot. Like it's not natural. They should be slowly embedded into the team. The pressure, all that should not be on their shoulders. I think that was something I really screamed on the rooftops when it came to me defending Nicholas Jackson. It was like he has all the pressure of the strikers like on just one guy, young guy, inexperienced guy. So I don't know. It's a good point, but I don't know. Again, just the fact that these like base level questions that you would want to kind of have figured out or at least have a clear understanding of still being big questions, that's the big red flag for me. It's not a deeper analysis because to your guys' points, you're making great points. Like all of these things can absolutely play out with time, but I guess where I'm at is it's been too long for these questions to still be the big questions.
Why has it been too long though? This was my
I think-
issue. If we
yeah.
rewind this to when he was hired and I go, this is a terrible time to hire him, and then they didn't back him with anyone in January, you're looking at him having one signing for 6 months. And then now he's had 2 games with the new signings. Well, 2 of the new signings. And
Right.
one of them's played 45
half.
combined minutes.
Yeah, 2.5.
So you can't this was my biggest issue of signing him when they signed him is if you were going to say here's your leeway, then you can't have the pressure on him in a really, really rough 5-game stretch to start the year be the end all be all. Because it was always going to end this way. Because even if United were to have pulled off a win against Arsenal or a City or a Chelsea in this next run of games, there's a chance that they lose 2 or 3 of their first 5. And then where are you at? Are you saying it's because he's not a good enough manager, or like would another manager have come in and gotten these results? I don't know if that's the case. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's such a problem. We know so
Yeah.
little, and that's just part of these processes. I've been there firsthand, seeing. We're just like, when will this end? Like, we cannot get out of the mud. But like, I'm not calling for his head. I think those points you just made were all valid. Like, if you sack him now, after again a rough start to the season in terms of fixtures, we're just going to keep asking these same questions 18 months later.
Yep.
So there needs to be time in terms of this season, short term, like definitely the next international break. For me, probably till at least like November, Christmas. But I'm just speaking from what I'm seeing and kind of feeling like when I just watch them play. Like every time I'm watching them, like in my head, I'm just like, oh man, like it's by the end of it. Because again, the beginning of this game, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm seeing it. I get it. It's fun to be reactionary this early, but
Yeah.
you do need to sit back, look at it. You cannot sack him right now. It would be a very bad thing to sack him right now. I think that's pretty obvious, even for people who do not like this manager. 2 games in, but yeah, again, it always goes back up top with Man United. Why'd you sack Ten Hag so early into the season after and give him that extension to begin with? There's just so many issues. It's rotten. I forgot which manager said that, but it's rotten.
Yeah.
So
Rod's
yeah,
the
it's
right
going to
word.
be an ugly one. It's going to take a while. I don't know which manager is going to be the one to bring United back to glory, but I don't know. I see so many questions always coming up, and it's just like, we don't even have the foundation built yet for a multitude of reasons, whether you want to
Yeah.
blame the manager, the ownership, the past players. There's so much blame to be given out over the past 10 plus years. But I still think you don't have enough to even answer a lot of these questions clearly. We do not have enough information.
No, look, Ten Hag lost his first 2 games as the manager of Manchester United. They finished third and won a Carabao Cup.
Yep.
So I think it's just the reactionary idea of they lost to Arsenal, which they weren't expected to win, and outplayed them. The Fulham game, they could have won. The players on the pitch just didn't perform for me. That's what that comes up with. Yes, he played a role in that as well. But you don't put away chances, you don't win games. United have to start putting away chances. So I just that idea and Manu being everyone's in a rush to get to the end line here, which is just not where this needs to be. Everyone needs to just relax a little bit. Let's see.
Maybe it was the Arsenal game, to your point, set the expectations too high for a lot of people, where it's like, oh no, this is the year we're pushing for Europe.
Yeah. Look,
and now you're disappointed again. You got to be in the mindset of where you are, and it's not there yet.
Yeah.
We need to be paid like it. It's perspective. It's perspective. But I mean, Grimsby in the cup, then you got Burnley at home. You have to win that.
Win 2 matches here, go into an international break feeling good, and go at it with the derby. Look, I have way more confidence in United playing well in games against Big 6 teams right now than I do against teams like Fulham.
You'll get a point off us. I think you'll get a point off us. We're horrible at Old Trafford.
Sure. No, but that's the idea is if you can start to build momentum, that's the issue. United, every time they seem like they're building some momentum, they get punched in the stomach and they haven't been able to respond. And that's more on the players to me than it is on the manager. So at some point, I think it's going to come down to Bruno, Cunha, and Mbumo. And Sesko is going to probably play a role in that too. But those guys are the ones that can get this team moving and get the gears moving. Because if United come in here, win 3 of their next 5, everyone will be feeling a lot better about the situation. But this is United. This happens every single year. We've been regurgitating the same shit for so long that people are tired. And I have no issue with anyone saying that they don't like Amram, they want him out, they don't like the way Manu's being treated. He should be playing. I got no issue with that. I just think that the rebuttals are also there. And so everyone's opinion is valid.
Though. I think
a little bit.
These things are super contradictory. Like you want Amram out, but it's a cycle. And then if you want to fucking play Manu, who are you taking out?
Yeah. There will be a lot more time to talk about United and the shitstorm that is always brewing over there. I don't want to run too long here, so we'll wrap it up unless you guys have something else you would like to talk about.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, fuck Liverpool. Bring the Henderson boys on, and we'll get into it on
Newcastle,
later in the week.
Sorry. You were wrong.
Yeah, Newcastle played really well for almost 90 minutes. They were the better team for the majority of that game. Liverpool scored a goal out against the run of play, red card, 2-0, and then got outplayed by 10 men. And then the 16-year-old they stole from us won the game. Yeah, 90th minute, 2 extra time winners.
2 youngins played this weekend, and that's pretty impressive that they both actually made contributions that ended up. Yeah.
Oh, dude, when Rio came on, I was like, oh, they brought Rio on. Great.
Game winner. And then Dowman wins a penalty. So it's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
He dove.
That, great. Good for the young kid to get the goal. And in terms of the Newcastle United support, I think they deserve a lot of pats on the back because they were fucking great tonight.
They were.
At noon for us. But they had me excited. They had me tuned in, glued to the game. Newcastle fought without a man, like Grant was saying. They outplayed them. I think that we can brush on that at the end of our pod because
Liverpool
and Newcastle,
they won 2 games to start the season, but they're vulnerable. I think what's so exciting about this season, what we were talking about in our previews, not one team looks just absolutely unbeatable. Every team, there's an avenue to beat them and get at them. I think Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, those 4 teams all can be got at and beat. I think that's what makes this year so exciting.
Yeah. This is the best league in the world by a country fucking mile. By a country mile. So we'll end it there. So this has been Clash of Clubs, episode 59. I have been Dylan. That has been Mila. That is Grant. And fuck Liverpool.
Words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal. Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent. Potentially life-changing. That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.